Good night, everyone. Pastor Neil here. I'm joined with a few others. Tonight, we're going to be diving into episode number 4. Episode number 4. And I'm joined with Elder Jeremy Escors and also Bradley. Bradley's here.
Hello. What's up, Brad?
All right.
How's it going?
Now, before we dive into episode 4, I just want to ask: has everyone seen? I hope that everyone that's here and those that are logging on, that you've had a moment to see the other 3 episodes before. Now, if you haven't, it's all right. You still have a moment. You can still get caught up. You can go over to grandviewsda.com and you can watch the previous 3 episodes there. All right. Also, tonight's episode will also be on our website. You can watch it via our app as well, our iPhone, and soon to be our Android app. You can watch it there, and you can download the study guide that goes along with it. It has discussion questions, and also it has excerpts from the book Great Controversy, so you can see how the episode goes with the book Great Controversy, written by Ellen G. White. All right. So, we're about to dive into episode number 4. I hope you're excited. I know I am. Each of these episodes have been really, really intriguing. So I invite you, when I watch episode 4, after it, then we'll talk about it. All right. We'll share our reactions. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. One moment as here we go. Episode number 4.
See, this just goes right in here. This activates the gauge, and we're ready to go. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Would you like me to show it to you again?
I'm just not that mechanical.
Aza.
Me alegro que esté aquí, Atlan.
Well, if we leave now, we'll be right in time
For the afternoon drop. Got it. We need to finish the rest of these. Surprise inspection. Everybody stand aside, please. Excuse me. On what authority?
As specified in the formal agreement between administration and the Office of Displaced Persons, Title 14, Section 3, Paragraph 2, both parties are legally hereby permitted to search and examine the record keeper's quarters in order to maintain proper procedures are being enacted and performed. Clearly, you don't read your own contract.
I know the contract, I just don't know you.
I am Estrella. I'm an attorney from the Office of Displaced Persons.
Está bien, Atlan.
Pero esto es un atropello, Reina. ¿Cómo se le permite venir así sin anunciarse, sin autorización? No puede ser.
Puedo. According to the agreement, we have open access to the records.
You don't have access to the record.
I beg your pardon.
But my offices are open access. I'd be happy to show you whatever you like.
Atlan, puede retirarse.
No, se puede quedar. We need to finish these.
Let's start with your process.
Un momento. Der Haftbefehl, bitte. Shukran. Off one. It's interesting that in all the millennia we've been doing this, the General has never called upon this clause. Why now?
Well, that is not your concern.
You ask for transparency, but you aren't willing to offer the same.
Well, your administration put in this clause, not mine. If you want to take this to the magistrate, we can...
necessary.
Good.
What would you like to see?
The records.
Those are off limits, like I said.
We have the right at any time to see the records whenever we see fit.
Title 1, Section 3, Paragraph 4. Either party may inspect said premises, but the record shall remain sealed until the appointed time. This document is binding and applicable throughout the universe in perpetuity.
Where are you from?
That's none of your concern. Let's just stick to professional discourse. I wouldn't go in there if I were you.
Well, walk me through your process. How do you conduct your interrogations?
You mean interviews?
Oh, I mean interrogations.
Have a seat and I'll show you.
I'll stand if it's all the same to you.
Have it your way. Typically, when we interview, the subject sits there and I sit here. I ask them questions and they give me their version of the events.
And you recall the conversations on this?
Yes, it's an elliptical monograph.
Oh, I know what it is. But don't you think you should be using something a little more contemporary?
We have an affinity for the traditional.
It looks older than me.
It probably is.
You're younger than I thought you'd be.
I eat from the tree of life.
I just don't understand why you don't want to tell me where you're from.
Why is it important to you?
I'd just like to get to know you better.
Nous sommes amis maintenant?
Je devrais pouvoir vous en mettre, vous en
Hey, Neil.
It's just your accent I find it hard to place.
And I yours.
Onion Pinion.
I'm from the northern province, but I moved around a lot.
How do you feel about your job?
Gabriel.
As a record keeper?
Yes.
It's an enormous responsibility and I love what I do.
But
sometimes I wish I could experience everything that has been seen.
rather than hear about it secondhand.
Something like that.
And where do the records go?
They are sealed, cataloged, and placed into a vault until the day when the records are opened.
And how many of the general's soldiers have you interviewed?
Legion.
And wait, excuse me. And Miss Rayner, I have a few more things I need to talk to you about. According to the warrant, I have as much time as I need to conduct my interrogation. But stand aside, please. And do you stay alone in there?
Depends.
With
Sometimes
them?
I station someone by the door.
And what sorts of things do they talk about?
Facts.
Come on, we both require the same thing, but no one can help add in their own
There is
opinion.
little room for conjecture in my office. I'm only interested in the events on Earth, not their opinions of them.
And how do you know when they lie?
I just know.
You can tell when someone lies.
Yes.
How often does that happen?
Rarely.
You expect me to believe you can tell every time someone is being untruthful?
I've spent my whole life looking into the eyes of truth. The one thing I can spot is a lie.
Oh, I find this hard to believe. This is something our general just...
Your general.
The general just cannot accept. We know that there is false information being recorded in
By
this
whom?
office. I'm not at liberty to say.
Of all the things administration has been accused of, being dishonest isn't one of them.
Times change. Try to keep up. Show me the rest of the building.
No,
Excuse me?
you're lying. You're not here because you think we're being untruthful. There's something else.
Undin provincia de nord.
Unorash mic pe malumari aperon.
Chearash.
Este fuerte mic probabil nu eruțit niciodată de el. What is the general concerned about?
He isn't concerned.
Another lie.
He wants to know what is being said in this
Why?
office, not your opinion.
Why?
He said, but actual
Why?
facts. This is my audit. I am asking the questions here. Tell me about Loris.
Loris.
Yes, he's a lieutenant. Stands
I
about
know
this
who he
tall.
is.
What kinds of things does he talk about?
He shares his version of the events.
Just facts.
Mostly.
No opinions.
Occasionally.
What about secrets?
There are no secrets.
The general will not be pleased to hear that.
He'll be fine. Why is he concerned about Loris?
He isn't.
Lie number 3.
He thinks someone is leaking information.
Why would it be Loris?
Because he is the only soldier who comes in here with someone from the other side. I hardly need to remind you that this is highly against protocol.
Not against protocol, it is just unusual.
Semantics.
They're still friends, they both requested it.
You can't tell me you're comfortable with this arrangement.
Administration sanctioned it, therefore I accept it.
No, this has to stop.
Why?
Because our last 2 initiatives
Attacks.
our last 2 offensives were thwarted just before they were launched. First there was the Holocaust of Wada, and now our tower has been sabotaged.
You mean the portal?
What's the difference?
Calling it a tower just makes it sound like a lofty building.
It was a tower.
It was a portal back to the kingdom. You were trying to escape justice.
Don't you talk to me about justice.
You were trying to escape death, which is what you've always wanted.
That sounds a lot like conjecture.
And you convinced the humans to join you.
That is your opinion.
That is a fact. It is the same lie that you've been telling from the beginning.
Conjecture.
Surely you will not die.
Stop it! Stop it! Just facts! I just want facts!
You're no lawyer.
You're a record keeper.
Keeping records for the other side.
So? What are you keeping records for? Atikak du mesh la chivo. The level likavat suda.
I see.
I applied for your job, you know. Long before you did. I was in line for the position, and then along came Raina. From out of nowhere. There is no way you earned it.
She was the top administrative assistant to the king.
Atlan.
She was there at every meeting, every negotiation, every planning session. She was there when the first words of dissent were spoken. No one is more familiar with administration than her, and no one deserves this job more than her.
Well, good for you.
Estrella! If you applied for this job, when did you defect?
When the general offered me the same position.
So you left because you didn't get the job?
I left because he accepted me. He appreciated me when administration did not.
Parvis.
What?
That's where I'm from, Parvis.
Parvis. That's...
Where the general is from, yes.
Did you know him?
Quite well, yes. We were very close.
This makes sense.
What does?
He often speaks of you. He says he misses being in your presence. Elemana lembranças.
Oh, wow. So that was episode 4. The Tower. The Tower. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of this episode? I'd love to hear your overall thoughts. Liked it, didn't like it, thought it was interesting. Thoughts. What do you think?
It was intense for me. Like, it was really powerful seeing the dynamics and the characters of the different characters, and kind of the relationship kind of explored a little bit more. We got to see the nuance between the angels personified and the devil's side personified. And it was just really cool seeing them interact like that.
Yeah, you're right. And I like the word you used. You said intense, right? Because at first, at the beginning of the opening scene, I was a little bit confused. Like, whoa, what's going on? It's very chaotic, right? Elder, I want to jump in here. Jeremy, what do you think? What were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the episode. Like you, when the lady came in, I didn't know who she was. I was like, who is this lady? And for her to be, so demanding, I was like, she must be somebody important. To come to find out that she's working for the other side. And I like whenever the one side and the other side interacting with God's side and the general side, I like how they interact, because you get to see both point of views from the angels.
Yeah.
And, with Satan, it's like everyone on your side is kind of like nothing is direct. So even with her coming in there, she said it was because, she wanted to look at the records, but that's not true.
Right.
It's like the devil, I guess he lies so much. I think, does he even lie to himself? Does he even tell himself the truth? Like, he knows the truth, but does he just lie to himself? And I like the fact that, I was thinking when she was saying that she wanted to see if God was being honest. And, I forgot the lady's name. What's the lady's name?
The main record keeper, her name is Rhea. Yeah.
She said that that's something that the administration had never been accused of.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said, so why? This is all open. God has nothing to hide. Only you have something to hide. Even you where you have something to hide. So, I was giving her, the squinty eyes, and this whole episode had me kind of laughing. Even when she said, how you look so young. Like, it's through shade of her. I eat from the tree of life.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yo, man, I love that. And, one of the things that really struck me, and a matter of fact, I've noticed this throughout each episode, is the issue of languages. I've counted there. I saw Romanian. There was Arabic. There was Portuguese. There was Spanish, of course, English, Russian, Aramaic, and Hebrew. Man, that's 8.
I think French also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes, French, 9, right? 9 so far. And especially in this episode, I noticed that they showed a lot. They used a lot of languages in this one, right? Which I thought was really, really cool, because even in the chaos of the scene, right? A lot going on, and it seemed a bit confusing because everybody's doing different things. That even this new record keeper, she comes in and she's asking questions. There seems, especially for us as viewers, we're the third party watching on, it tends to be a little bit confusing, right? You have to really try to pay attention to follow it. And I thought it was very interesting because it fits perfectly with the Tower of Babel, right? Where as the people were coming together to try to communicate and to do a particular thing, there was confusion that was a resultant of, right? So I thought, man, that's very creative. That's great and structured. One of the things that I thought was really cool here, Brittany shared this in the comments. She says, even though they didn't show the tower, I like that they are speaking different languages, right? So she also caught that too, right? Where it's all coming together. We're still having the Tower of Babel experience, even for us presently as we're watching. which I thought was really, really cool and interesting.
If I can jump in real quick, even within English, there were different accents and dialects that were used to kind of make it even more abstract.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't hold back, right? I thought, man, this is great directing, great writing, right? And I love the reference to eating from the tree of life, right? Now, what do you guys think of that? You know, as you're talking and, you know, even sharing different places of, I guess, the universe that you're from. What do you guys think of that? Feel free, anyone wants to jump on in.
The fact that angels eat from the tree of life is something that I don't think most people would know. They think that the tree of life was, because the garden, I assume, is, you know, gone from the earth or wherever it may be, but they eat from the tree of life from somewhere. Because it's remaining to keep them young. So I guess she's saying that without the tree of life, you're aging.
Right. And Bradley, you want to jump in here? I don't know if
I was going to say the same thing as Jeremy. Honestly, the fact that angels ate from the tree of life was surprising to me.
Yeah.
And the overall world building was very, very interesting. Obviously, they're not based on real world locations per se, but it adds to the dynamic of the characters that we're discovering about. Some of them were from the same area. They were friends. They had different relationships. They grew up with each other.
Yeah.
It was them for us.
Yeah. I love that, because as human beings, we tend to think along those lines. So now as we think of angels, like, wait a minute, they have relationships with each other. They have personalities. They have different regions that they're possibly from, right? And how those relationships have this great interplay, right? And especially, you know, it talks about where Rhea, she's like, oh yeah, I know the general. We grew up together. You know, just thinking about it, where Lucifer, along with other angels, they're angels that know him, that know of him, they grew up together, and he is here on earth doing his thing, and they didn't come with him, you know. And even those that did come, you know, just I've never had to think about that before, right? So now, you know, seeing that play out in these episodes, it's like, wow, this is remarkable, right? But I want to transition here a little bit, because I want to talk about some of the dialogue that went on there. There's an issue of lies, right, that came up. The issue of lies and accusations. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as you were talking, and, you know, any thoughts on that?
Well, I like when Raina, she said her whole life she looked in the eyes of truth. Like, speaking of God,
that was my favorite.
She was seeing through the deception that I forgot the other girl name.
Yeah. Let's call it Record Keeper 2. Yeah.
Record Keeper 2.
Yeah.
That she saw through all her lies. So that even, I think when she said that, yeah, we were friends, because she saw through the eyes of truth all her life, she saw that Satan was lying. And I assume that's why she didn't go with him.
Yes, I like that. Bradley, I don't know if you want to jump in there.
Yeah, real quick. I think the fact that every time that a lie was told, another one didn't persist after that. Whenever Rhea exposed the truth, the other record keeper just had to tell the truth immediately. She couldn't keep the facade. So it's almost like in the face of the truth itself, lies have to surrender themselves. It's kind of
mercy. Yes. Oh man, I love that. Say that one again.
In the face of the truth, lies have to surrender. They have to take a step back.
Bow down to it. And that is the power of it, right? You know, I often, you know, when we think of it, like those that work at a bank, they don't teach you to spot a counterfeit by looking at other counterfeits. They teach you to study the real, the authentic. You keep looking at it, feel it, touch it, you know, just investigate the truth so much that someone has put a fake dollar in your hand. You could be completely blindfold by just feeling it. You will know, nah, this is not a real dollar, right? This is not a real $100 bill. You toss it, right? And I love the fact that she says, I've been looking in the face of truth for so long that she can easily spot a lie. And this also, for us as Christians, this is why it's so important. We need to spend time in the Word. so that when anyone comes with any kind of falsehood, we can readily identify it. Right? Oh, I see a comment here from Brittany. She says, this episode was very comical, but the part that stood out the most to me is when the visitor revealed she was keeping record. Yeah, for Lucifer himself. What will be try and prove in the end, right? Yes, that's a very, very good question. Why is Lucifer keeping record? Now, I'd love to pose that question back to you guys. What do you guys think? Why do you think Satan would want to keep his own record of things? Any thoughts?
In the same way, I think that God's records establishes all of human history and the things that we have done, and that will be judgment at the end of the day. I think the devil is able to use his own records to kind of twist and misconstrue all the things that happen in our lives. So even if, God has blessed us, God has come through for us, his own records can take the truth itself and misconstrue it. So there will be temptations and there will be moments where, oh, you thought that this was an act of God, but in reality, here's my truth, here's my records. So it's like their own alternate version of it.
Okay. Elder, you want to jump in here? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the second keeper said that it was his trial. So I think Satan is trying to build his case against God.
Yeah.
So that he can manipulate it wherever he wants, because I think in the legal system that both parties do have to see the evidence presented so that they can make their case, whatever it may be. So he wants to make his case against God. And I guess if he wants to lie to himself and say, oh, God is unfair. Look at these records. God is unfair. And even God, he says, he tells us to, I forgot what verse it was, but he's saying, like, put me on trial.
Yes.
It's kind of like, tell me, what have I done wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Satan's trying to say, like, yeah, he done something wrong. I need those records. I need to see what he knows. And for them, that's why, like Brittany said, this whole thing is comical in the sense of there was like, the guy, the generals, the black guy, Loris.
Yes.
Loris.
Yeah.
They thought that he was like a double spy or something like that.
Yeah.
And they, to me, it's like, do y'all think God don't see everything that's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you think that he's giving up information? God knows everything. So
exactly. And I love this was the key line to it. There are no secrets. He put it out there like, listen, there are no secrets, right? Mm-hmm. Because the accusations was, oh, he's trying to manipulate things. Because notice they were like, oh, the two main events, he thwarted them. First one, he messed it all up with the flood, and then the second one messed up what the tower is being called. But they're like, no, it's really a portal because you're trying to escape. You're trying to come back. Right? Come back. And I love this line here because Rhea, she hits them with it. She's like, you guys are still operating by that same lie that you will not what? You won't surely die. You're still trying to escape death, So I thought it was really interesting. But before we close out here, I want to ask any last closing thoughts that you have with this episode. Anything else that stuck out to you?
My only, looking at all the episodes, even this one, I felt sorry for the second record keeper and Loris. You see him crying, and I even felt sorry for Satan at one point, in the sense of when it first felt that pride or whatever it may be. I would imagine he didn't know how to feel. But then, of course, he let it overtake him. And after that, looking in, like she said, looking in the eyes of truth, how can you look in the eyes of truth and live a lie?
Mercy.
Because now you're making yourself believe what you want to believe, even though you're looking in the very eyes of truth. So that's when it's like, well, that's on you now. I can't feel sorry for you anymore. But with the angels, because even though God doesn't keep secrets, I think in the last episode she says, or the other guy, the one that's on God's side, he says, do humans really know what's going on? You guys have secrets. God don't have no secrets. And that's what you're working on. You're working out of darkness. And I kind of like when the water, I don't know the second record keeper when she saw the water. It's like PSD. What do you call it? She had,
Yes.
yeah, she like traumatized, like she got froze. Like, what's that? Like,
Yeah.
so this episode was very good. Satan always has a counterfeit for what God has, and God has his record keeper. Satan has his record keeper.
Yeah.
God has his generals. Satan has his generals. So, you know, for him to be looking for records, for him to build a case against God, and it's kind of like, man, that's why I said, like, you lie so much. Do you even know that you're telling a lie? Because you're looking for these records for God, and you know that's not true. Like, you know you ain't gonna find nothing, but you got to put on an act or whatever you want. I don't know, but yeah, it was a good episode, man.
All right. Bradley, you want to share anything else before we close out?
Overall, I just thought it was a very, very good episode. Again, I love how they brought all of these characters to life and kind of put them in these different scenarios to just, you know, develop their relationship between them. I think we're going to get more of the world building as the series continues and just really get to connect the pieces of how the whole great controversy is explained. So I'm really excited for that.
Oh yes. And you know, just in closing out here, I love how throughout this episode, here of episode 4, where the phrase or the theme that kept being repeated to the second record keeper who came in was, no, this record, you're not allowed to see it. It is sealed until the appointed time, right? And this every time I heard it, it reminded me of Daniel, where Daniel was given certain records like, here, you can see this, right? But no, do not explain it. Nope. Seal it up until the appointed time. Seal it up until the appointed time, right? Where it's at the appointed time that everything is revealed to both parties, right? Because administration is asking for a record, but administration is not asking, can I see the record, right? And here we see that the devil, the general, he's requesting access to the records, even though he knows that's not appointed for you, right? So I'm like, there's some cloak and dagger going on here, right? So I thought this was very, very interesting, and I can't wait for the next one, because I see how things are building. Things are building up, and it's building up to a major climax. So for those that are watching, I invite you to go back, rewatch this episode if you like, and let the conversations continue. Let discussions begin. All right. Thank you all for watching tonight. Look forward to seeing you all Wednesday night at 8 p.m. where we dive into episode number 5. All right. God bless everyone and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.